Hello folks, and welcome back to my channel. Today, it's another in our studio etiquette series. We are talking about piercer availability, and more specifically, how available or accessible your piercer may be to you, both inside and outside studio hours. Now, as many folks know, piercers can work some funky schedules. Your local studio may be open early or open late or closed on odd days, and not every piercer might work every shift. While the studio is open, it's going to be pretty accessible to you. I won't lie, studio phone lines can sometimes get pretty busy, but if it's during studio hours and you message or call or email, it's very likely you're going to get a response same day, if not within just an hour or two. Most of the time, if it's during business hours, we're super available. Many piercers make themselves available outside of business hours. For example, I answer just about every single DM that I get, and in order to stay on top of that, I am answering messages every single day. Now, it doesn't always mean that I'll get to your message the same day you sent it to me. I do prioritize in-person clients or clients who are having more severe or more time-sensitive issues with their piercings, and on my FAQ I list that I ask 48 to 72 business hours for a response, but I do always eventually get to every message. It just sometimes takes me a little bit. But the reason why I wanted to talk about availability is because I've been noticing a recent trend and seeing this kind of talked about across all industries, but especially in piercing and tattooing, of clients very much feeling like we need to be accessible to them basically 24/7. And what I mean by this is I not too long ago had an interaction with someone who messaged me wanting to get a price quote on getting their ear pierced with a particular piece of jewelry they'd seen on my website, but they couldn't find on the Laughing Buddha website. Now, I think that's a very reasonable request. They had a very specific piece of jewelry in mind, they wanted to know how much it might cost so they could prepare for it, and they wanted to know if it was even a safe piece to get pierced with. All completely reasonable questions. Now, this client wasn't coming to my town until 4 months from when they sent me the message. They just really wanted the time to prepare ahead of time, and they were very savvy. They knew that if we didn't have the piece in stock, because they didn't see it on our website, we might have to order it, and they wanted to give us time to do so. Again, super smart. Now, this is someone who I hadn't interacted with before, so their messages went into my message request folder on Instagram. And I saw it pretty late at night and was like, okay, yeah, I will need to pull a price quote on this piece to figure out the current cost of it. This was on one of my weekend days, and so I made a mental note to go ahead and get that price quote once I was back in the studio in 2 days' time and get them back all of the information. I woke up in the morning and saw that they had sent another 2 messages to the thread saying, hey, just following up. Hey, hadn't heard from you yet. All of these messages were within about a 12-hour time period. And I was like, okay, clearly they're excited about this piece. It's my day off. I'm not even in the studio to call and get a price quote. The client is, planning on this for 4 months from now. Again, I'm gonna worry about it in 2 days' time when I'm back in the studio and I'm doing my managerial stuff, and typically studio days are when I send companies emails, get price quotes, follow up with things. Well, over the course of the rest of that day and the next day, this person sent me 7 more messages, and the last few were pretty rude. They were saying things like, I thought you said you answer everyone's DMs. I thought you said you prioritize in-person clients. I don't understand why you aren't answering me. Finally, I went ahead and opened these messages and said, hey, nice to hear from you. Just so you know, it says on my website that if you are not currently an in-person client experiencing issues with a piercing, to give me 48 to 72 business hours to answer your messages. For the particular piece you were looking for, I need to contact the company to get a price quote. I personally don't do company quotes and calls on my days off. I do that only when I'm working in the studio and I'm getting paid for my effort and my time making these phone calls and doing these connections. Furthermore, you are not going to be in town to potentially get pierced for 4 more months. It's not like you're trying to get an appointment with me tomorrow. It's not like you're gonna be here in 2 or 3 days. We are talking 4 months out you are trying to plan for. It is not the end of the world if I take 2 or 3 days to get back to you with a price quote. And in recent years, I've been having more and more interactions like this online. Folks will comment sometimes on dozens of my posts on Instagram or on TikTok saying, check DMs, please check DMs. I DM'd you, it's urgent, please check DMs. And I'll open my inbox expecting it to be someone like, Lynn, my piercing got ripped out. Lynn, it's embedding. What do I do? I need help. Like, what's going on? I'm having an emergency. And I'll open my phone and it'll be someone going, hey, I think I decided I want to get my high nostrils pierced. I only see a consult option on your website, but I don't want to wait for a consult. I just want to book it in right now. When can I book it? Or it'll be someone sending me a picture of a piece of jewelry that I posted on Reddit 8 years ago going, where do I get this piece from? Where is it from? Can you order it for me? And these people are posting on like 6 or 7 of my posts saying, it's urgent, it's urgent. Check your messages right now for a price quote on a piece of jewelry, or asking how to book an appointment for a piercing. And listen, in making this video, I am in no way attempting to say that if you do have an emergency or something is urgent, you shouldn't contact your piercer. Like that video I made a little bit ago talking about follow-ups, we want you to follow up with us if you're having problems and issues with your piercings. Especially if we are the person who pierced you, we absolutely want you to follow stuff up. When I go through my inbox, and sometimes I get 30, 40, 50 messages a day, I scroll through those messages quickly, and in-person clients get first priority. Well, in-person clients having emergencies get first priority. In-person clients in general get second priority. People who I did not pierce or do not know who are having an emergency get third priority, and then it kind of tapers off from there. And the lowest priority is people who just want price quotes on a piece, people who are just asking questions that aren't super urgent, like how much does it cost to get a nose piercing, or can you send me some links for body modification books, or where do I get this like movie, or where do I take this class? Those are things where it's like, this can wait. You know, if I've got 30 minutes on my day off to answer messages, Susie, who wants to know where to buy this book, is not going to get answered. But Sarah, who's like, my dog just ripped my earring out of my ear, is going to get a response from me real quick. So there's you know, I do some triage. There's a hierarchy of needs in my inbox. And if it's not super urgent, I'm still going to answer you. It's just going to take a little longer. And if it is an emergency, like, please message me. My in-person clients know this. So I am wicked fast sometimes on Instagram with those responses. And especially if you put like urgent or SOS at the front of your message, I am on that. I am answering that as soon as I possibly can. We are getting you help. Like, I am here for you. I want you to reach out. Like, please reach out. I'm more talking about folks who treat getting a price quote on a piece of jewelry or asking about setting up an appointment months from now like it is this big emergency, and folks who are rude or feel entitled to people in response. I mean, I have seen an influx, not just with piercers, but with tattoo artists, with nail techs, with hairstylists, with dog groomers, posting conversations with clients and showing clients getting furious that they didn't respond immediately, or they didn't respond within a couple hours for something that was not an emergency. That was not urgent. And so I wanted to make this video to talk about a little bit of studio etiquette of piercers and tattoo artists and anyone who works in the service industry do not owe you 24/7 availability. We just don't. We owe you some level of availability. If you're having an emergency, if there's a problem with your piercing or your tattoo, or your hair is falling out, we owe you getting back to you within a timely manner. Hopefully within a couple of hours, 24 hours maybe max, you know, if things happen, sleep schedules are off. Sometimes I'm out of the country, so you message me at noon here and it's 2 in the morning where I'm at, so I'm in bed, I don't see it. You know, sometimes I get sick. Sometimes I'm dealing with my own stuff, so I don't get to it right away, but typically relatively quickly. But we don't owe you that level of 24/7 accessibility, and especially immediate response, over something that is not urgent. And I know to you it may feel very urgent that you get that appointment booked to get your ear pierced, that you find out that price quote on your piece of jewelry, that you're very excited for these things right now. But those are not urgent things. Those are not emergencies. It is not an emergency to get a price quote for how much a nose piercing is going to cost right now, right this moment. And also, if you feel like it is that important that you get an answer right away, call the studio. That's always going to be your quickest way to get a response about something. Instead of messaging your hairstylist at 10 at night asking how much it's going to cost to do blonde highlights, call the studio when they're open, and you're going to get that faster response. But etiquette-wise, please give us a little bit of patience when it comes to answering some of these messages. And please be a little bit understanding that we may be having a really busy day. We may have a really busy shift with a ton of clients in front of us. I may open my phone to 12 messages, and 4 of them are people having genuine piercing emergencies who really need help right now, who are in a real problem with their piercings right now. And I'm going to prioritize answering those people first over, getting you a price quote or some information about something that's not that urgent. And I hope that you understand that if it does take your piercer maybe a little bit longer than you expect, maybe even a day or two to get back to your messages, it's likely because we needed to prioritize people who needed that attention a little bit faster and a little bit sooner. And that means if you have an emergency like that, you will also get that prioritization and that attention a little bit faster and a little bit sooner. But also, we're only human. We're people. We have lives. Piercers are allowed to put our phone down and leave it at home and go to a concert and go to the movies and go on a hike and not be completely plugged in to answering you 24/7. That's why our studios exist. I'm off 3 days a week. If you are having that much of an emergency or you need an answer that quickly, please call Laughing Buddha. Please call my studio. We're open 7 days a week. I might not be accessible in that moment to help you, but someone at the studio is. I even have whole resources pages on my website, my What's Normal series and my emergency series. So if you are having a panic attack because a bead fell off your jewelry or something overswelled at 2 a.m., I have resources on my website that if I'm not accessible to you at that time because I'm asleep or I'm sick or whatever, you've got the information that I would tell you right there. And then as soon as I'm awake or as soon as I see your message, I will get back to you. But I do notice this growing entitlement of service professionals being available very, very 24/7 to clients. And it's something I struggle with myself. And it is only in recent years that I even have set boundaries like this. Folks who messaged me back in 2016, 2017 know that you could message me basically anytime except for the hours of 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. And I would be responding within an hour. And I also didn't have a life. And I also wasn't a very good friend, because I would be out trying to do something and enjoy something with friends and have a meal or have a drink or go to a show, and I would be on my phone the whole time answering messages. I cannot tell you how many friends I damaged that relationship with or I hurt because we were trying to have a conversation, we were trying to spend time in person, and I said, hold on, I have to tell this person how much this anatometal end costs right now. And I've learned that I don't have to, that I'm allowed to be a person and put the phone down and step away from it. And I will still be here if you have an emergency or you need something urgent. And I will still do everything in my power to answer that message in a timely manner. But there has to be a work-life balance when it comes to piercers and service industry workers. And I think this growing entitlement from some folks for service industry workers to be available 24/7 is very unrealistic, it's very toxic, and it contributes to a lot of mental health issues and burnout in these industries. So please, folks, if you message your piercer and it's not a truly urgent, pressing emergency, be patient with us if it takes some time to get back to you. If it's something that's really not super urgent, like a price quote where we have to call or contact a company, please be extra patient with us. And also understand that sometimes we're not the reason that's waiting. Sometimes the company takes a while to get us a quote. Or sometimes we have to check things on the back end, and it's not as fast as you may think for us to get you that answer. But please be patient, please be respectful of our time with that, and please know that we will get back to you as soon as it is realistic for us to do so. And we just really appreciate your grace and understanding and giving us that time to have dinner with our families or go out for a drink with friends or see a movie and not be constantly on our phone or social media answering messages. And to piercers out there who are potentially watching this video, the best advice I can give you is to set healthy boundaries early in your career. I spent many years being that person who was glued to my studio Instagram page, answering every message the moment it came in. And I regret how much life I missed out on living by being beholden to my inbox. You should still make yourself available to clients, and if you opt not to, you should make sure that one of your coworkers or your studio social media will still be there to help folks out. But learning how to set healthy boundaries early on in your career is really going to help you avoid the burnout and overwork problems that are rampant in the service industry. And just one more last note, if it is a genuine emergency, if you really do need help, please still message folks. I'm going to link my follow-up video here because I think that is a really important message in conjunction with this one. And I just want to make it abundantly clear. I'm not talking about folks who have good, realistic questions about piercings, who happen to have an emergency and need help. Please, folks, still message us about that stuff. I'm specifically talking about folks who cannot be patient with non-urgent questions when it takes us a couple hours or even a day or two to get back to their messages. All right, folks, thanks so much for sitting down and chatting with me, and I can't wait to sit down and talk with y'all again soon. Bye.